Make sure everyone's happy.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello.
Now, here's the deal. You get one question each. Todd, you've already had 5, so you're on -4.
Hello, hello, hello.
One question each.
Hello, hello, hello.
You know, long on the king, let you do it all.
And let's agree that I'm running the show, not you. So, appropriate questions only, please. And I won't be sharing my phone number on the first date. That's what I said to Jack Tame. I like Jack Tame. He's quite a funny guy, actually.
Hello, 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 hello.
How are you going over there?
You know, we're...
Do you want me to do it for you?
Hello, hello. You know what? I think it's going to have to work.
Right, let's get started, eh? No one else is going to come. Shannon, lead off. What do you want?
Why are you resigning? When the job is meant to be.
Well, looking at that thing behind me, it's got 2025 written on it, so it may well be a case of suspending rather than resigning. Having said that, I think I've made it pretty clear all along to all members of the campaign committee that our program was always based around polls, so it's a month-by-month program, and we've been lucky enough to poll well almost every step of the way for a variety of different reasons and different ways. Back in November when we did our first poll, we had a very high dislike factor, but we still had recognition. As time's gone by, the recognition factor's gone up, dislike factor's gone down. And we've always been able to assure people who are supporters that we would continue to poll strongly. And if we didn't, we would reasonably expect that they had the right to step away and I would reconsider my position. And that's what happened last night. We got to a situation where, hold on, there's a man just coming in, we better let this man come in. So last night, I woke up 3/4 of the way through the night, like I invariably do. Hello, sir. And we had a poll in front of us that wasn't perhaps as attractive as those that have come before them. And when you pick through the bones, through the carcass of it, it was pretty clear that despite my thoughts and ideas that I traversed the entire political spectrum, it appears that a lot of the unknowns did, in fact, want to be part of the Leo land thing. So that changed the complexion of it. And I sent Matt a very late night email and said, I'm not entirely sure I feel comfortable with this poll. I think we'll talk about it in the morning, after I've done what I do in the morning, which is boxing, in case you're wondering. But I said to Matt, we have to have a heart-to-heart because we're getting to a very critical stage of the campaign, that being the last day you could enter, which also meant that if we stayed in beyond lunchtime today, ethically I was compromised because I could very easily be guilty of orchestrating the result of an election in a significant way if my heart, mind, passion and resources were not fully committed. And of course that's the whole package with me, people who support me in whatever way. To me, we're all one together. And I couldn't guarantee, if we'd left our name in the ring beyond 12 o'clock today, I couldn't guarantee that I wouldn't be orchestrating the result. And God forbid there is one result that none of us want to live with, that is literally a nightmare. And I thought that we had a stare down from the centre-right candidates. It ended up being a wee bit like Princess Diana's marriage. It was a bit crowded at times. And I decided that I was the person who, having tried to steer them all down, I'd step away to leave another candidate to perhaps, hopefully, prevail and do the right thing by the city. I'm sure you'll all appreciate the fact that everything I've ever done has been for this city since I've been here for 25 odd years now, and everything I ever do will be for this city. And let's agree that whilst you might not be running this particular year, 3 years goes by in a flash in my life and I've got a lot of other commitments and things to do. So it's highly likely I'll be back on the radar again.
How much of it was about cold hard cash and the cost of going on?
Well, cold hard cash is always a factor. I mean, I don't think any responsible person will spend their money recklessly, and we've already spent a considerable amount of money productively in a multitude of different ways to establish our profile and recognition. But there's no question that we need you have an insatiable appetite for cash in a campaign like this, particularly against a formidable opponent like Wayne Brown.
Do you find Guy Williams ran all the time?
I think he's a fabulous guy. I've been supporting him. I think he's been hard done by his fellow wokesters. and I'll always be there and always support him. I'm very good friends with his father. He's been here and joined us for lunch one day. I invited him to come and have a one-on-one interview with me where we reversed the roles, but the important thing is I'll always support Guy.
What role did that interview and what happened afterwards? How did that impact what's going on now?
Based on Wayne Brown's poll, it had absolutely no impact at all, because when Wayne Brown did his own polling, I was still very strong. That was some time after that interview. And never lose sight of the fact that it was a comedy series. I was asked to do it. I was prompted to ask the questions I did. I have text exchanges asking them to remove the swearing, which sadly they decided not to do. And they dropped it at 24 hours notice the day after we had a really strong poll. But there's no regrets there. I mean, it was filmed 6 months ago, and I thought I was doing Guy a favour. So, but having said that, I think we agreed that in the 2025 campaign, I probably won't do it again, in case you're wondering.
Are you unhappy with that broadcast then?
No, I'm not happy with nothing, Shannon. I'm a hard bastard. Haven't you worked that out yet? Nothing hurts me.
Can you give any indication who you'll be backing out of Beck and Brown? I know you said you weren't sure, but if they're leaning towards.
See, this is the problem with endorsing other candidates. I've been on the tour with them a long time now. I've heard their speeches so many times, and I've seen them evolve, and every one of them has some redeeming features. And I guess they probably look at me the same way. But is any one of them the whole package? Probably not. If you balance things up, would you have a favourite amongst them? Depends what you wanted to achieve. You know, it's not that simple. And I think if I do endorse someone, which is still a very real possibility, I'll have to think really carefully about it. I have to make sure it's the best thing for Auckland, and it may well be that will involve some negotiations. So,
Can you, on the money issue, can you give any indication of how much the campaign's cost you?
a lot. There's a lot a figure. A lot.
What's happening to your bus?
Oh, the bus. The gearbox was stuffed. Where is the bus? It's around. It was supposed to be back this week, actually. It's around still. Do you want to buy it? Happy to sell it. I might turn it into a camper van and tour the South Island. That'd be quite good fun.
Before 2025, do you have any new hospitality adventures coming up?
Yes, we do. That's well documented. We've got one big asset. We've got a couple of assets in the viaduct, but one big one called O'Hagan's currently. So their tenancy expires, I'm going to say December 15, but there might be plus or minus a day or two. I think they're moving out on November 25, actually, so we'll start work there on December 15, and it'll open on 20 January.
Leo, when you saw those numbers last night, what was your reaction? What was going through your head?
Oh, I was mortified. You know, we just didn't see that coming. So, you know, I'm a fairly bullish person. I'm a blue sky person, so I'm a front windscreen, not a rear vision mirror, and we just didn't see it coming. So,
Have you ever envisaged being this moment playing out now?
no. Well, how would you? You know, we were busy up until about a week ago recruiting staff and amassing people around us, and you know, adding people to the team and getting advisors in, and thinking, here, we're on the runway. We're about to press the thrusters and go for it in that poll.
Was there any horse trading done with other campaigns as to who might go?
Well, I don't really have that connection with other campaigns, so I mean, I see them when we sit up for debates. I think probably hand on heart, every campaign has someone else and everybody else's campaign, but I don't have that ability to have dialogue with them in any meaningful way. And certainly no one knew what our plans were today. It was very much a case of Leo, Matt and Steve moment this morning, sitting down and saying, well, this is where I think we should, or this is where I sit.
In the what ifs, Viv Beck put her nomination in only at 10 o'clock this morning. If she hadn't,
Yep.
what would you have done?
Well, that was the stare down, and that's what we thought was going to happen. So we were hoping that Viv would wave the white flag. Wayne was never going to wave the white flag after that poll 2 weeks ago. He paid for that poll, or his supporters paid for it. But in the stare down of life, we were hoping that Viv would wave the white flag, but she didn't. So we had to make a decision. So.
What would you do differently getting into 2025?
I wouldn't do Guy Williams again. Nothing against Guy, but I wouldn't do it again. I'd probably try and talk in a more softer, approachable way rather than be the natural Leo. You've known me a long time, Shannon. You know, I can at times be a little bit obnoxious and a little bit out there, a bit edgy. But we were trying at all times also. There's a balance of establishing recognition and then pivoting into soft policy. But I think we have a reasonably good recognition base now. We've got 30,000 followers. I think we've got 11,500 phone numbers or something of supporters. and Matt will tell you the exact figures, but we've got some pretty staggering, it's like a small army. So the thing is now, do you walk away from that, or do you look at 25 and go, we'll let someone else inherit this hospital pass now? And it's not great. In case you haven't read the budget, or you don't know how to read a budget, I'd strongly recommend that you get some advice and read the budget and see what they've hidden, because the city is in a perilous state from a financial perspective. So it may well be that the opportunity is here for someone else who might have 3 years of misery sorting that out, correcting us, and then in 2025 the city might be ready for someone like me who's arguably more of a charismatic type. I mean, at the end of the day, your job as mayor is to articulate the vision for the city and to activate it. So you've got to ask yourself, are the other candidates fit for purpose for that particular job? If you're looking at it from a pure budget perspective, like a chainsaw perspective, I'm going to cut the fat and the obesity out of the system, you'd probably have a look at Wayne Brown, wouldn't you? If you're looking at someone who presents an image well, you'd have a look at Viv. But I personally think that I'm the whole package, but this year's not the year. So.
What's your attitude to the whole campaign? I mean, none of the candidates either now seem to be getting like a large section of support. Everyone has quite a small...
Okay, yep, it is. It's very fractured, you're right. And the remarkable thing there is that a FESO, like, you remember when you're at school and you go to the school dance and no one will dance with you? You're that spotty-faced kid sitting in the corner saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. Well, he went for about 3 months, didn't he, before anybody swiped right on him. Then finally the Labor Party did swipe right on him. They don't actually like him, but they swiped right on him. And now he's got the endorsement of Dick Hubbard. Well, hello, work it out. I think the guy's stuck on a rock myself, but I'd hate to think that I contributed to him getting elected, because I think he's the most reckless and irresponsible of all the candidates. So what was your question again?
Or just why is this campaign, has there not been...
Oh, you don't have coruscating characters like me, do you? You know, those people are career politicians. I mean, look at Viv, what's she been? She's been New Zealand Post and MFAT with John Allen, and then she went to rip the heart out of the city. That hasn't gone so well. Wayne Brown at least has a wee bit on his CV to say that I've been there, done that. Fesso's been on the umbilical cord of life for his entire working career. Has he worked for his entire career when he's made out he's employed? So I think that I brought an element or a bit of dash, bit of colour. I'm an Aucklander, aren't I? Wayne Brown's not even an Aucklander, so. Next question.
Is it harder than you thought?
Well, it sort of is sometimes. You get a few lonely moments when you... I'll tell you what's actually hard. I'm not the world's best sleeper, so it's hard when you've got to concentrate and read 15 documents every night before you go to bed, knowing full well one of you guys, you're like predators. You're like vultures circling the sky looking for a carcass, and I don't want to be your carcass, so I need to know everything about everything that's happening. And politics is so dynamic. When we first started, it was all about public transport and congestion. Now it's about violence and law and order and extreme weather events, and you've got to know. And if I was going to talk about public transport today, there's 127 different things that you have to know. We had someone here yesterday. Who did we have yesterday, Steve, talking about public transport? I can't remember who it was. I see that many people these days. And you've got to talk about RFTs, regional fuel taxes, and how it's going to be used, the project's going to be used on. There's about 20 or 30 dedicated projects. And if you said the name of a project and I didn't know about it, know where it was at, then it's a gotcha moment. I look like...
If this is hard now, surely being mayor is 10 times harder.
Oh, ask Phil Goff. He doesn't answer questions, so ask him. I could take that. Do you want me to become one of those mayors who doesn't answer questions? I prefer to be the one who does answer your questions. I give you column inches and clicks. I think that's probably my strength. I'm never afraid to answer a question. That's why I do all the reading, so I can answer your questions. So I'm not a Winston Peters. I won't shimmy away and say I'll have it sorted out by election time.
Do you think the media coverage of you has been fair?
Yeah, I love the media. You know, I understand how it works. It's a two-way street. You know, I know you've got to sell papers and you've got to get clicks, and I'm great for sound bites. I understand that, and I get told all the time, never use more words than you have to, and about 25 minutes later I'm still talking, and I've got advisors tapping their phones over there with their watches saying stop it. So, but I have no animosity toward the media. I actually enjoy you all personally, and the ones of you that I know, I enjoy your company. So.
Where do you think a disconnect was then between the public and you, and do you think some of the language that you used might have been part of that?
Oh look, I'm Leo, and I'm an Aucklander. So the language is me. I can never not be me. I'll never be an actor. I'll always be genuine. And if people want to buy into that package, that's fine. Where I probably fail, where my model breaks down. How's my Heineken looking, Freddie? Can I have a little freshener? Where my model breaks down is that you guys will listen to me for 45 minutes for one show and you'll print a paragraph. And that's where it breaks down, because if you ask me about any subject, doesn't matter whether it's green hydrogen or flying to the moon, COVID, You know, I've got a great intellect and I can talk about most things, but you don't give me the opportunity. You tend to report the fluffy sizzle, you ignore the sausage. So,
What would you like people to remember about you
I haven't
now and
let's make it clear, I haven't fucking died or anything, it's not a funeral. Remember this, he's running again in 2025.
so between now and then, what would you like people
Well, we'll be a lot better resourced and we won't make the same mistakes again. You're looking at 2 videographers, you're looking at a very good media man there. We you know, like everybody, everything you do in life, you learn, don't you? You think, you know what, I just got that slightly wrong. Shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have worn that, shouldn't have done that. So it's been a valuable learning exercise for me. It's been, as I said, we declared last July, so it's well over a year now. And we've had full-time members of staff since Christmas time. So, yeah, a lot of things I look back on and I get told off by a lot of people saying, you were really good until you did that, or you're really good until you said that, or you mustn't say that. So I think I've learned a lot, and I think I'd be a far better politician if we started the exercise again. I'd probably try and sell the fireside chat, Leo, which is more about just sitting around talking in a normal tone. And I mean, we did a podcast the other night with some boys from out the south side of town that's been very well received, but it's just me doing what we're doing now, just talking like you and I are sitting in a bar in a pub somewhere. But I think the Leo's up on the lectern who starts ranting and gets angry with people who piss him off. That's the Leo that people don't like. So I understand that now. So.
We'll do another 3 or 4 minutes, folks, this Friday afternoon. If you don't want to embarrass at the moment, though, so if you've got a great question, now's the time. No? No one's holding
We run out of questions.
No one's holding it back, the alfresco dining, nothing.
Can we just take off for the record, so there's no dark secret that was about to emerge?
No what?
No dark secret.
What's a dark secret? Come on, I went to vet school, man. It was compulsory at vet school. No, of course there's no dark secrets. What do you mean by that? That's ridiculous. What do you...
I just mean in the course of the week, as people's pasts have started to surface.
Oh, you mean poor old Sam Wolfendale, however you say his name. No, I didn't even go to Dunedin. I went to Massey. I'm a Massey boy. So, no, I don't have anything like that, I'm sorry. And besides, you lot have been dissecting me for about 25 years. If I had anything to hide, you would have found it by now. So, no, I have no skeletons in my cupboard. Sorry to disappoint you, Todd.
Leo, you seem quite sad and subdued. You're an ebullient character usually, and you're firing. You do have this red team with us all the time, which we all kind of enjoy. But you seem like really quite sad tonight.
Do I?
Yeah, to me you do.
Do I truly, Matt? Yeah, I don't feel that way. I'm probably trying to... well, I went to the doctor for my regular 6 monthly today, which I go, and he said my blood pressure's 130 over 80. He's amazed how well... He said, you can't deal with what you deal with and be still 130 over 80, but that's what I'm like. So, I mean, it's no secret that I'm a very poor sleeper, and I've got to have some work done on one of my eyes, which I'll now take the opportunity to get done. But I don't think that should make me sad. I don't feel sad at all. I feel great, actually. So, I certainly don't feel mellow, if that's what you mean. You know, I mean, it's an informed decision. You know, like most of my decisions in life, it's always based on a model. I don't make cavalier decisions without any basis in fact. And the model was presented to us last night, and I scrutinised it, and I made a decision. So.
Yeah, although that poll was pretty tenuous.
Yeah, you guys always say that, but here's the thing. I mean, I did stats at uni, so I know enough about polls to know. Yeah, when you get a well-weighted 500-person poll, that's a good poll. And that Currier's been polling for people like John Key for a long, long time. I take all their polls seriously. If the margin of error was plus or minus 6 or 7%, I'd agree with you. But a well-weighted poll with a margin of error around 3.5, it's a good poll. You know, you guys seem to be fixated by whether there's 1,000 in the poll. It's the margin of error that matters. It's how the poll's weighted. So, you know, I think you'll find that Currier's been fairly reliable. I mean, who's your favourite poller? Don't tell me Talbot Mills, for God's sake. Who's your favourite poller?
Reed.
So Reed's Herald, right? So what do they typically take as a sample?
1,000.
And what do they do as margin of error?
Oh, I think it's around 3.
Okay, well, that's quite well weighted, yeah. I mean, more numbers are better, but statistically you have to make a decision. It's all money, and at 500 it's a pretty good sample. So the disappointing thing about that particular poll last night is the undecideds. I would have thought by now, given the amount of media coverage we've all had, that people would be at least close to arriving at some sort of decision who they're going to back and why. I mean, all our policies have been fairly well articulated by now. There's not exactly any new material coming forward. So
who do you think, I mean, somebody suggested to me today that the angry white men have gone to Wayne Brown.
have they? Were they supporting me? Is that what you're trying to say?
Where do you think you've lost? Do you think it's women? Do you think it's angry white men?
No, we have analytics analysing our data all the time, so we haven't lost any particular sector. And I can tell you that we're strong in the south, and we're very strong in Howick, and we're strong in, well, Matt will give you the more relevant information, but I know the spin-off, for example. Is anybody here from the spin-off? Duncan already rang today, so. But yeah, they've been out south side of town saying, what's this phenomenon about Leo Molloy? So the PI people love me, but I don't think there's any particular area where I've lost. I'm not quite sure whether I look through a slightly rose-tinted lens like most people in life. You know, I live in a bubble. But I was sure that I was traversing the entire political spectrum. I was sure that I was appealing to the left, the right, the centre, the Liberals, the fiscally responsible, but it would appear that I wasn't. So it's just part of the learning curve of life.
What's the plan for tonight?
Plans for tonight? What do you reckon? Fiji? Anywhere? Anywhere but here?
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it there, guys. Thank you very much for coming. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all your efforts on the campaign. Good luck. Might not be as exciting going forward now. But,
Mural debates without Leo.
yeah, we feel your pain. So we'll see you again in a couple of years' time.
Maybe I'll still go to a debate, of course.
Well, you're certainly invited to ours, Leo.
You don't need to be in the...
Leo wants to take crates of eggs and sit in front.